Good evening. We would like to welcome everyone to the first installment of the District Advisory Committee. Tonight we will have three short presentations, Local Control Accountability Plan, an English Learner Update, and the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, better known as ELOP. Before we start our first presentation, we have an opportunity for public comment. Seeing none, it's my pleasure to introduce Assistant Superintendent Sharp, who will be presenting the Local Control Accountability Plan.
Okay, good evening. I am going to be presenting on our Local Control Accountability Plan for the year. The Local Control Accountability Plan has 8 state priorities, as you can see here: basic, state standards, parental involvement, pupil achievement, pupil engagement, school climate, course access, and other pupil outcomes. And of these priorities, the Lambertville Unified School District has put these priorities into 3 different goals: systematic closure of the opportunity gaps, priority 1, 2, and 4, instruction and curriculum efficacy, priority 2, 6, and 7, and 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication, priority 3, 5, and 8. Within Goal 1, systematic closure of the opportunity gaps, our goal here is all students will graduate the LUSD school system, college and career ready, through a coordinated, articulated instructional program that teaches students the skills of communication, citizenship, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. Technology-focused facilities and programs will be a priority with the intent of creating a district-wide one-to-one learning environment. You can see an example of some of the key areas we focus on here: student attendance, CTE, EL progress, and so forth. In addition, Goal 1 utilizes assessments of student data, UC A to G completion, dropout rate decrease, and so forth. And here on our, I guess you could say our dashboard of our LCAP, we do have this on the website. Goal 1, you can see the indicators that we use to show progress towards Goal 1. We have AP pass rate, A to G readiness, DNF rate at the high school. DRA is our reading assessment for our kindergarten through 2nd grade students. We also have CASP, ELA and math, as well as, again, for the high school, GPA, and for all students, along with CASP being all students, is our MAP data. And then we have EAP data for the high school below. And as you can see, each of these indicators does also break out our significant subgroups and how they are performing. Goal 2, instruction and curriculum efficacy. We're committed to the systematic development of instructional leadership and teaching excellence in all classrooms by identifying, implementing, and institutionalizing research-validated practices district-wide. And you can see below our targeted areas: professional development, programs and services for unduplicated students, decreasing suspensions and expulsions, to name a few. Again, adding on implementing Common Core state standards, PBIS at all sites, survey results for the climate at the school sites, and Project Lead the Way and other CTE-aligned courses. So here on this page, we have both Goal 2 and Goal 3, so I will come back to this page after I've gone over Goal 3. For Goal 2, you can see we are looking at students who have instructional materials, qualified teachers, and the facilities and the good repair or the status of our facilities. We also have parental involvement, as well at the bottom, school climate, which looks at suspension rates and expulsion rates. Goal 3 is 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication. Lambertville Unified School District will provide its community with a high-quality education, fostering positive parent relationships in a system that is focused on a 21st century educational program that supports and includes a rapidly expanding student population. And again, here we are looking at appropriately credentialed teachers, parent input involvement, and parent participation of students with exceptional needs, EL, foster, and low income. In addition, we are looking at staff surveys, parent engagement, participation of focus groups, regular evaluation of our district technology via the tech sustainability plan. And going back, here you can see that over on the right-hand side for goal 3, we're looking at pupil engagement and how we are viewing that or reviewing that. We have attendance rate, chronic absenteeism, our graduation rate, and our dropout rate. In addition to that, we look at course access for students. So students having access to our CTE pathways in 9 through 12, advanced placement, early college participation, and at the bottom, other pupil outcomes. We are looking at ACT, SAT, and PSAT. As a part of LCAP, we have a budget overview for parents. This is a component of LCAP and subject to the same adoption, review, approval, and posting requirements. It includes local control funding formula total funds to the district, and there's a narrative for budgeted expenditures not in the LCAP. Any questions?
None of the facts and figures on what I call the placemat have been updated. That's the same as the last time the board reviewed it, correct?
They're from November 2022 is the updated numbers. And I think Thor. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
I was hoping that was the answer because I'm like, whoa, I need to look at that. But anyway.
Yeah, no.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to have Executive Director Busatil now come up and talk a little bit about give an English learner update.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. So just a reminder, students are identified as English learners based off of parent-guardian responses on the home language survey. And the home language survey is given to any students that are new to California, new to the United States, or new to the public school system. And so once they're identified as a student that may need additional support in English language development, and that is through the LPAC assessment, the initial LPAC assessment, and then based off of that score, it determines how much support is needed at the school site. So students that we have currently, we currently have 869 identified English learners. Of those students, 44 students are identified as long-term English learners. And so a long-term English learner is a student that has been identified for 6+ years as an English learner, and that's students typically in grades 6 through 12. For students at risk of becoming long-term English learners, we have 66 students, and that would be for students that are in grades 3 through 12 that have been identified as an English learner for 4 to 5.9 years. Our school sites are currently administering the summative LPAC assessment, and then that will help us to determine and identify which students are eligible for reclassification for the next school year. The reclassification criteria are reviewed at our ELAC meetings, our site-based meetings, as well as our DLAC, our district advisory for our English learners. And so students have to have an overall LPAC of score of a 4, which is very, very rigorous. They have to meet certain MAP and CASP requirements. There has to be a teacher recommendation, and then the most important thing is parent approval. And then once students are reclassified, then we continue to monitor their progress for a minimum of 3 years after they're reclassified. Any questions?
Oh, behind you.
Yes.
The students that have been identified as, I guess the term you call me, the English learners, do they know, are they identified, or they know that they're not special, but they're being given additional help?
Yes. So the question was is if students know that they have been identified, if parents and students know that they have been identified as English learners, and the answer to that question is yes. Prior to the initial LPAC assessment being given, we have to provide parents and guardians with notification that they have been identified for assessment, and then following the assessment, parents and guardians are notified that their student has either been identified as initially fluent in English or as needing additional support, and so identified as an English learner. And then that notification is also a formal letter that goes home to parents and guardians as well, outlining the supports that they'll receive. So students get integrated supports throughout the school day, as well as designated supports, where it's a 30-minute specific to their skills, how to best to help them in their English language development.
And I guess the greater question is, do they feel comfortable? I mean, they're not, I wouldn't say ostracized, that would be too strong, but they're made to feel comfortable that it's okay until they get up to the standard that
Correct.
the school or the state requires.
Yes,
Not
absolutely.
made to feel different or anything.
Not made to feel different. When we are in the DLAC meetings, we actually celebrate the fact that the students are bilingual or trilingual. We encourage families to make sure that they're keeping the students' first language or primary language in the forefront, while the school sites are helping to improve their English fluency in writing, speaking, listening. And so that is something that we celebrate, and it's not something that we want students to feel self-conscious about or anything like that.
Any other questions? All right, we're going to have Assistant Superintendent Sharp come up, and she's going to give, for the purpose of the DAC meeting, a brief summary of the expanded learning opportunity program.
So the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program is the 9-hour school day that I have shared before the board in earlier meetings. There are 11 quality standards that are required as a part of this programming from the state. Safe and supportive environment, active and engaged learning, skill building, youth voice and leadership, healthy choices and behaviors, diversity, access, and equity, quality staff, clear vision, mission, and purpose, collaborative partnerships, continuous quality improvement, and program management. The ELOP program has both an academic and enrichment component, so we're looking at reading and math instruction, social emotional instruction, makerspace use, visual and performing arts, wellness centers, art, athletics, learning commons assessment center, and staffing. The ELOP program also has a summer school component where there is a 30-day, 9-hour-a-day summer school piece aside from a regular summer school. As a reminder, the intent of ELOP is to offer all unduplicated students in classroom-based instructional programs access to comprehensive after-school and intersessional expanded learning opportunities. The primary focus is TK through 6th grade. We have a communication plan set up to communicate this out to families. We'll be sending a survey out to families from the district office with a sign-up link in the survey for families. School sites will send out a second communication to families, and then we will have a follow-up communication to families of unduplicated students who have not responded. Any questions?
Not for me, thank you very much.
Okay, well, this wraps up the District Advisory Committee meeting. We want to thank everyone for coming tonight. The Local Control Accountability Plan is in its 3rd year, so next year will look a little bit different because we'll have to re-up through a new process. Our English learner percentages for the district is around 11%. That's a large number, but it's also not as large as some of our sister and brother districts in the region. And the ELOP has got a great opportunity for us to expand learning opportunities for our kids. So with that said, we want to, yes, ma'am. As a district, well, and there's a lot of measures. So in terms of the CAS, which is the state assessment, we're doing exceptionally well. We are the highest performing district in the county. We're much higher than Livermore. There's nobody to the north or south of us in any vast spans or east. We are very close to Dublin and Pleasanton and San Ramon. We're a little bit below them. They're kind of our aspirational target. I would say we need 3 more years, and we don't need another pandemic. That kind of broke up some momentum. When it comes to, in terms of the high school graduation rate, kids getting into college, again, the metrics are very, very good. Depending on how you measure it, the high school graduation rate is usually 99% because there's a 4-year aggregate that you get counts for you. But on any given year, we usually get all 100% of our kids eligible for graduation to graduate. We have very high numbers of kids passing their A through G. We have a state and national award-winning early college pathway program, which currently has 120 students in it, and about every year we graduate 24 or so students with a high school diploma and a junior college, community college AA degree. We have a very broad and expansive sports program, and we have state and nationally ranked extracurricular academic activities. So we're pretty proud of our program. We have a lot of work to do, though.
As am I. That's very good. Thank you for bringing it up, Steve, 'cause I like to brag on our, one current date, I like to brag on the results of our district.
Well, we brag away. All right.
Dr. Nichols,
Yes, sir.
I do have a question. Has the state provided any sort of exposure draft about what the new program might look like, or is it still just dark?
The LCAP part?
Yeah, like what the the changes will be, or
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to try not to make Thor's cheeks turn red. So the LCAP came out in 2012, 2013. It was supposed to be a simple model, local control. Over the years, between the responsibilities put on county offices of ed and the state itself, they've turned into a regulatory document. It now really serves the purpose of having a financial document aligned with the set of things districts plan to do. They changed the rules when Thor was doing this at least 6 or 7 times, and then they would change it in the year. So we don't know unless Thor has something he has. No. So I would expect more rules, less guidance in the rules, and more guidance after we write something down to tell us we need to change it.
bring me a rock. Oh, that rock's too big. That
Yes.
rock's too small.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and one last point of data. Our statistically significant subcategories, meaning our students that generally come from traditional lower performing subgroups of kids, whether it's ethnicity or low income. We just presented to the board, I would say 3 or 4 months ago. We have student subcategories that are outperforming the state and county, the entire student population. And these are traditionally underserved or underrepresented groups, and they're outperforming groups, the whole group. So that is a very nice metric for us to say that like African American, Hispanic, English learner, low income students are outperforming just the general student body in the county. So we have a lot of work to do. Everything is not perfect, but we strive every day to close gaps and give kids opportunities. But that metric there is, I think, one we should be proud of as well. You're welcome. And with that, we conclude tonight's District Advisory Committee. There'll be another one, I think, in May, and then a June review with the budget update, and then a June approval of the LCAP, its third variation of this plan. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for coming tonight.
Yes, thank you very much.